think he's out in the hallway.
No, we don't. So we can go through this case first and let them go on.
Okay, we will begin the January meeting for the Zoning Board of Appeals for the City of East Peoria. And the first item would be a call to order. Roll call.
Driscoll.
Here.
Whitman.
Here.
Tippett.
Here.
Shears.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, next item of business would be the approval of the minutes from the meeting held on November 11th of 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Don. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, George.
Oh,
Approval of the minutes is carried. First case up is case SU-2024-020, and that's the petition of Kent Laundry for a special use to allow an accessory structure inconsistent with City Code Section 5-6-5 on property located at 106 Oakdale Road, and that property ID number is 02-02-19-410-007. Would the petitioner approach the podium to be sworn in? Good evening. Will you state your name for me?
Kenneth Laundry.
Okay. And Ken, will you go ahead and raise your right hand for me? And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And then go ahead, if you will. We've already got your petition, so we know a little bit about you. But explain what you want to do and maybe why and the placement of the structure if this passes.
Okay.
Thank you.
The main goal is I'm paying for inside storage on my camper out in Mononk, and I got a truck that sits out all the time, and I'd like to put them in the building. And as we were looking around, it's getting pretty congested around the house. She's referred to it as Sanford and Son, with my tractor attachments and the boat and the trailers. And we'd like to get that cleaned up, make it more presentable to the neighborhood, and have it all under one roof, because a lot of these attachments are sitting out, have gearboxes and hydraulic cylinders, and they're subject to rust in the weather. And I've got some other equipment that I'm paying inside storage on, and we're kind of in a 10-year plan to get all this finalized before we retire, and this would be our forever home.
Okay, questions for Mr. Laundry? John?
no.
Don?
So we're looking at a enclosed building, right?
Yes.
That's what you're looking to do. What? And you've got 2 lots, correct?
Yes, I purchased 108 last April of 24, I believe
And
it was.
it's an empty lot.
Yes,
And
it's
that's,
vacant
is
lot.
that where this building would go?
Yes.
Is that the plan? What? I don't think we got too much information on the building itself. What? Oh, there it is. 40 by 64.
Yes.
Okay. By 16. Okay. That's all the questions I got for now.
George?
Okay, so 40 by 64, that's a huge building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would be the smallest that you go to still do what you want to do? Because you have a garage behind your house and you have another shed behind your house, so you got like 500 square feet there.
Yeah.
And I know the garage is for your personal and you're wanting to do.
Yeah, my garage is kind of my workshop, but when I get a truck in there, I've only got about 2 feet in front of it to work on.
Yeah, it didn't look very deep.
Yeah, it's not very deep.
Yeah.
The previous owner built it, and they had a compact car, so it was probably big for them. But when I back a truck in, there's not a lot of room to work, and you can't hardly get another vehicle in at an angle. And the attached garage would be for her car, and the shed is right now for a lot of the lawn stuff.
Okay, and how tall are the walls on this?
It would be 16-foot ceiling,
Okay.
because I have to have a 14-foot door to get the RV.
Get the RV in,
Yes.
25 to peak?
25 to peak, is that correct?
Yes, I believe that was right,
Okay.
25.5 feet, I think.
And it's strictly going to be like a Morton building, correct?
Yeah, it'll be a post frame with steel siding, to match the house and kind of make it look like it all belongs together.
Okay, and the one in the front, the one big garage door? Or are you gonna have little ones too, or?
Two 14-foot doors and then a walk-in door next to it to kind of break it up. And then I've been talking with the builder about how we can kind of bring this down to size. And he said, we can put an eyebrow above the overhead doors and maybe add in some soffit lighting. And he said that roof line there kind of breaks it up and brings it down to an aesthetic level of a neighborhood level.
Okay, so, yeah, with two 14-foot doors, there's not gonna be very much steel on the front of the building, it's gonna be all doors.
Yes, it'd be mostly doors, and then I thought about putting a window off to the left side to break it up, but I really don't want a lot of people looking in there
No, I get that,
to
yeah.
see what I got.
No, I get that. So, what can we do other than steel on the front finish, though?
I was talking to Chad Cam about it. He's kind of the one that I'm leaning towards doing this. The house was built back in the 50s, and to try to match the brick on the house with it's like a brick fascia they can put on. I can't remember the name of it.
Is it thin
Right.
brick? Like a thin brick or something?
Yes,
I
it
know.
comes in like panels,
Okay,
but I don't know how close we could get that to match. But I said, well, if we can get something even close just to break that up and bring it down, he said, I'm sure we can find something.
yeah, I mean, I'd like that instead of just all steel. Mm-hmm. And with the huge garage doors, it's not gonna be a very big area anyway,
Right.
but it's just gonna make it more, other than a Morton building.
It'd make it look, yes, more than
Right.
just a pole barn.
Right,
Yeah, so I could do that.
okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
I think that's all the questions I have.
I've
Okay.
got another, or go ahead if you got questions, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So, I was unaware that this thing was 40 by 64. Where on, could you guys, look up, or do you know what the size of the lot is? Just that one? Can you look that up if he doesn't know off the top of his head?
I,
Okay. Well, I'm just curious, the side lot, if it's one lot, we could just divide by two. Yeah, it'll be big enough, but I'm curious how much of an impact we're gonna have on the lot. So where on the lot are you going to be placing this?
it would be 12 feet off the north side property line
Okay,
and 10 feet off the east side of the property line.
and that's the back, right?
Yes, if you're standing in the street looking, it'd be on the north, pushed back to the northeast corner.
Okay. And is it the side wall or the end wall? Is it the gable part that's facing the street, or is
Yes, it
the-
would be the gable part.
So facing the street, I'm gonna see a 40-foot wide gable, right?
Yes, you'll see a 40-foot wide building with the gable in the front.
Okay.
So the driveway next to your house where there's a blacktop driveway going back there, there's a trailer sitting back there.
Yes,
So is the building sitting a little bit to the side of that, or is that gonna be up to the building?
it's gonna be about up to the front of that building.
Okay,
But that existing driveway will be tore out. It's pretty broken up.
okay, yeah, oh, yeah, I understand.
And then-
I'm just trying to get a picture of
Yeah, and then
where
I'm
exactly it's
gonna
gonna
try to
sit.
move it over, the driveway over. I've talked to the water department because there's a shut off and
Okay,
so we can work around that.
Okay.
You said 12 foot to the north and 10 foot to the east?
Yes,
Okay,
I believe that's what I was told. I had to have it off the property line.
okay. And do we know how wide any of that is, or did you guys look up any dimensions for us?
So the dimension, oh, sorry. So the dimensions of the lot are 78 by 130.
Okay, so then each parcel used to be 65 by 78 probably.
No, sorry, just the one lot that he'd be building on.
Oh, the one lot he's on is 78 by 130?
Unfortunately, the Tazewell County hasn't given me updated parcels, so I'm still seeing it as two separate
Okay.
parcels.
That's a big lot. Okay, thank you.
No, I think I'm good. I asked about that driveway. Or that, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to clarify. North, south, east, west, I'm a little confused. So if I'm standing in the street looking at your existing house, and the new shed's going to go over here to the left of it,
Yes.
okay. On that lot, then, are you closer to your house or the neighbor's?
It would be closer to the neighbors, because in the 10-year plan, she's got to have her pool over there. That's why it's kind of shoved off that way. That way there's room.
So you have talked to your neighbors about it?
Yes.
Because I think there's a couple issues here. Number one, you've already got two accessory structures. And then this is obviously going to be a third. But there's also an ordinance that talks about how much of your lot you can cover with cement or driveways or pools or sheds. And you've got a long-term vision for your property. I don't know if does a pool add to that problem?
So it'd be built structures, and I don't know that we have any concerns necessarily with lot coverage total here.
Okay.
I mean, it would be for, that which is covered with structures to it. So he's
Okay.
got a ways to go.
Okay. I just want to make sure that your plan didn't already have a problem
Okay.
with adding a pool to,
Well,
okay.
the pool can be not an issue because I want him to be able to store all his stuff.
That's your priority, right. Okay. Is there, if you envision this structure being built, let's say as is, but George's suggestion, because the ordinance does say it really shouldn't be metal fabricated building, so we want you to fancy up the front of it a little bit. But I guess when I envision this shed on your now adjacent lot, or annexed lot, is it going to be so big that you're going to constantly have like an overshadow or shade on your neighbor's property or house? I mean, I guess I envision myself living next door to you, and all of a sudden, you build a shed so big that I can't grow anything in my garden. 'Cause that has happened to me with neighbors' trees, and, or, do I constantly look out my bedroom window and I can never see, the sunrise because I've got this huge building sitting so close to my house? And I don't know if you've just thought of anything or if you had a conversation with the neighbor about that?
I've kind of talked to the neighbor about it.
Okay.
Jenny and Lori, and they're okay with it.
Okay,
They were wanting to build a garage years ago, but were told they had to have living quarters in it. Well, I started putting two and two together, and I think the reason they wouldn't let them do it because that property used to be in their mom's name, in Lori's mom's
Okay,
name.
so-
She
bought it
technically
from them.
owned it, so they didn't have a dwelling on it.
okay, so there's some other issues there. Okay.
Yeah, and then he's retired and since come down with some medical stuff, and that's why they sold the lot. He said he's just not able to maintain it anymore.
I gotcha, okay.
If you guys have the GIS website still up, can you approximately tell us how far the neighbor to the north, their house is from that lot line?
Don't we have it in our packet?
Well, I mean, you can eyeball it.
Oh, well, that's true. It's
It
not
looks
measured.
5 to 8 foot.
I think probably close to 8 foot.
The house to the north, he wants to put his building 12 foot on his side of the property line. How far is the garage, the neighbor's garage from that property line? I'm just curious how far the neighbor is from this new building.
Roughly 9.5.
9.5
feet.
foot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's more than I thought. Yeah, it looks less than that.
Can I ask a question then of you guys? Do you feel 9.5 is adequate if you were the neighbor?
So it's 9.5 from their garage to the property line, and then 12 foot.
Okay,
So you're 21.5
Okay.
foot between buildings, and it is their garage
and not their home, okay.
and not their home.
Okay.
Unless they, stand in the garage and look at the sunset. I don't
No,
know.
I think, no, and I think that helps a lot.
Yes,
With
I
my
agree.
one and only concern, I mean, it's a big building and yet it's your own property, so that
I agree.
part I wasn't so concerned, but I'm like, well, what if I'm the neighbor and you don't like cutting down your trees and I can't grow tomatoes anymore? Oh,
Well, and that's why they were happier that we were setting it further back, so that they could sit, because they sit out front like we do on the deck. They sit out front, and when we showed them the whole layout, they were pleased, because they got a real huge German Shepherd in the back, likes to bark. And they're like, well, maybe that building kind of muffled the bark a little bit, because the people at the
Okay.
park are walking through.
okay. Well, I have no other questions, but I think George might.
Question for Ty. So on the square footage of the building, do we have to approve the extra square footage too?
So the special use here is covering a lot of different bases. And so the recommendation from the board probably should reflect all of them. The sizing, we've got the height, number of accessory structures. So those all kind of play into that. So those all should be reflected in the recommendation.
But being on a separate lot, does that?
This lot,
that out?
it's been combined. It's not
Okay.
reflected in the GIS. If he did go to that extent, he's got to combine. So we're okay in that regard.
So it'll
It's-
just be one tax ID number after all the process, right?
And then also the building facade is another component of it. So the recommendation of the council should kind of touch on all those. Is this acceptable, or are there recommended conditions
Okay.
or changes?
Okay, any further questions for the petitioner?
Yeah, I got one more question. Could you give me an idea how far his front of his house is from the property line on Oakdale? I'm just trying to visualize how far back this is going to be, because obviously the new building's going to be behind.
Yes, it's
Your
gonna
house.
sit back further than the front of the house.
Yes, and I'm just curious how much further. I don't think it's going to be behind the back of your house.
No,
It's
it'll
going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yes,
Yeah, just from his red roof house, the front to his front
You
property.
want the
line.
front lot line or from
Front
the
lot
edge of
line
the
is
street?
fine. Yeah, front lot line.
Okay.
Because I think this new building's about 56 feet from the property line. And so I'm just trying
Yeah.
to see how much further.
House is about 40.
40. Okay.
And
Yep.
then, you get another, right away is another 13
Yep.
feet to the edge of the street.
Yep.
that's one thing I took into consideration when I sized it. I don't want my neighbor sitting on his front porch and can't look up the street. I don't want to sit on my front porch, and not be able to look up the street.
Right.
That's why I pushed it back to the
Yeah.
property line
I
as far
like
as I
that.
could.
Okay,
It's gonna-
any further questions for Mr. Laundrie? Okay, you can have a seat.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to the ZBA on this particular case? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the next case, and that would be case V-2024-006, and that's the petition of Frontier Hospitality for a setback variance on property located along Conference Center Drive. Property ID number is 01-01-29-300-0115. Excuse me. Would the petitioner approach the podium to be sworn in? Hello, will you state your name for me?
Robert Culp.
Hi, Robert Culp, and will you raise your right hand for me? And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead and explain to the ZBA what you want to do.
I'm here representing Fairgram. I'm with Midwest Engineering Associates. I'm actually here representing Ramaker and Frontier Hospitality Group. But what we're looking to do is get a setback variance from a property line to site this hotel along the riverfront, the Hampton Inn Hotel. And the reason we're looking for the setback is trying to get the parking and everything to fit on the site, and the developer would also like to raise the site up so it's above the 500-year flood elevation. Okay. So trying to, and whether or not it ends up being there or not, it's still debatable. We got it to work, so it should work, but developer might lower it a little bit. But as we stand here today, it's going to be at the 500-year flood elevation, and trying to get the grades to set. And really, so when you come up along Conference Center Drive from the front, it looks like it fits in Central Illinois. It doesn't look like it's on a hill or on a bump. So to get it to grade and get everything to fit in, we needed to push it back towards the trail or the bike path as much as we could. And that's really what we've done, and that's why we're asking for this variance.
Questions for Mr. Culp? John? Don?
Yeah, so first of all, I appreciate all of the information and the very good detailed plans and all that. I believe you're asking to go, it's a 20-foot setback right now.
Yes.
And you're wanting to go 6.1 foot setback instead.
Correct. That is correct, yes.
So where on these plans are we only 6.1 feet from the property? To me, it's like 13 foot.
I think it was a question on the back patio area, was
Okay,
maybe whether or not you considered that part of the building, if you see along the rear there.
It depends what they do there, I guess, if it's covered or something.
Right now, it's just going to be a patio with a fence, but I think to be safe,
Okay.
the developers, actually, architect Ramaker wanted us to come present this just to make sure there were no concerns.
So they want 6.1. To me, that's well. So they're saying this is the property line. They're saying that's 6 foot potentially. Okay. To me, it
Yeah.
looks maybe even less than 6 foot, but if you want 6.1, that's fine.
Yeah.
And my other question was about the flood line. I was just curious if that's what you're doing. I do see the plight that if you don't do that and you got to push everything back 14 foot, you're really messing. You're getting things super tight.
It becomes hard to get the parking in a drive aisle around the front of that to fit that. So you are correct. If we have to come forward, it gets more challenging.
Yeah. Do you have any concerns or worries about the path or being that close to public?
I don't think, given the Embassy Suites and how that lays when you
Right.
walk, I don't know that anyone walking back there's going to notice this patio or anything any closer than when you walk by the Embassy Suites, to be fair. I mean, I think it's going to blend fairly well with the Embassy Suites. And that's the only one I think that's fairly close. Everything else is open parking lot or some type of open area. So, yeah.
Talking with the developer, the trail is really an attraction to the development here. So this is going to be very complimentary to the hotel, and proximity
And
to
they're
it
wanting
is.
to use that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was
get
one of
it.
the attractions of the property.
Yeah. Walk to Steak and Shake.
Yeah, we're going to put there's an ADA ramp, sidewalk will meet ADA to get down to the trail to walk whichever direction. You can get to Bass Pro. I mean, you could get
8%,
about
yeah.
anywhere in the city in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You can get to Morton if you really wanted to. But I mean, in all fairness, so but to get to whatever Granite City becomes and to get whatever else develops around Bass Pro, the putt club, you could walk to that. So yeah. I mean, and theoretically, but yeah, for their short-sightedness, John, they do see this as a feature.
So and I even see the patio at Embassy Suites even closer to the sidewalk than yours is. Yeah, we have too, and it's like super close. But I didn't realize it was that close. But yeah, okay.
And you don't even notice when you walk it, right? Because I went out and walked this too. I was like, man, I don't even pay attention to that because it just blends.
Well, unless you have a couple little girls and they see everybody swimming inside the swimming pool.
Yes. Well, yes.
That's all the questions I had.
Okay, thank you.
George? I'm good. I think I'm good as well. So,
Okay.
Mr. Culp, go ahead and have a seat if you will.
All right, thank you.
And is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to us on this particular case? Seeing no one, we will move along with the final case of the night. I sure can, yeah. We will go ahead then, and for the sake of our guests here tonight, we will go through deliberations first before we pull the city up as the petitioner. So the first case that we'll do deliberations on is SU-2024-020, and that's 106 Oakdale Road. Kent Laundry is petitioning for an accessory structure that's larger, inconsistent with city code, and inconsistent material. So I'll go ahead and ask the questions. After conducting a public hearing, considering the facts, will the establishment, maintenance, and operation of the proposed special use permit be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare?
No.
Will the proposed special use permit be injurious to the use or enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for uses permitted in the district?
No.
Okay. Will the proposed special use permit diminish or impair property values within the surrounding neighborhood? Will the establishment of the proposed special use permit impede the orderly development or improvement of surrounding properties for uses permitted in the subject zoning district?
No.
No. R, have adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, or other necessary facilities to be or been provided? Okay. R, have adequate measures to be or been taken to provide ingress and egress from the site, minimizing traffic congestion and hazards on public streets? Not applicable, maybe. Will the proposed special use permit conform to all other applicable regulations of the zoning district?
Yes.
I think my concerns regarding placement and size are probably waylaid, and my only concern now, I think George would agree, is that the facade might need a little bit of, what else does everybody have concerns with?
One thing I just noticed, he's planning a 71-foot by 27.5-foot concrete driveway, which is fantastic because concrete's what we want, and a lot of times they're wanting not concrete, so that's good. But at the same time, so that's 71, it's 27.5 foot wide, 71 foot deep, which really goes right along with those numbers we were looking at before with so far off the property line and stuff. So I think we're spot on with our guesstimates. But that's a big piece of concrete, 71 foot long, 27.5 foot wide in a residential area like this. So it's something to keep in mind. And I guess one question I do have is, we're 10 foot from the back property line. Code says 3 foot minimum to the 5 foot minimum to the back property line. Okay. So that could be another thing, is push it back further. But then we add more concrete that I was just talking about.
I mean, we're back, it's gonna be sitting back behind the front of the house. So, to me, that's good.
You want to bring it back up?
If you want to, you'll have to approach, that's good. I'm loud. If you want to, yeah, you'll have to approach the podium and the microphone, because our meetings are televised and recorded. Go ahead.
No, the reason for the width of that driveway is, right now I got a 34-foot camper, and to get it in my driveway, the street's so narrow that I put the trailer wheels on one side, and by the time it starts to get over to the other side of the driveway, I got to do a pull up and kind of wiggle it over. That's the reason for so wide. And then it'd be a straight shot in that building, because I'm going in a 12-foot wide door with an 8-foot wide camper. There's not a lot of wiggle room. And I drive tractor trailer for a living, so I kind of thought about that before I went through in a narrow driveway and start dropping off.
Did there used to be a house on that lot?
Yes, years ago, back before I purchased 106.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause didn't it burn down?
I think it got run down, and there was holes in the roof, and Dick Gaunt, my old neighbor, he's the one that tore it down. And he told me what year he tore that down, but I don't remember what he said.
Okay. And the existing concrete or the existing blacktop is still there?
Yes.
But I assume you're going to take that out?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
busted up and
Yeah, okay.
cracked up, and I'll remove it and then put the new driveway in. I'd kind of leave that driveway there so they could get concrete trucks in and out and not track a lot of mud out on the street and all that, because he said it's going to be a war zone when we start building. I said, yeah, I was afraid of that. But he said that concrete the existing driveway will help reduce the mud and everything coming out on the street.
For the construction deal.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay,
It's
cool.
temporary.
Ty, does this go to the city after this, or are we done here?
This goes to city council next Tuesday.
And the next one, we're done here with the variance, is that
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you. That's all I had. Anybody else got anything for the petition?
I don't, and I can't make a motion, so I'll rely on one of you to create something.
Go for it.
I'll make a motion that we approve this with the height of the building and the additional square footage of the building and the extra buildings that's put on the lot, and the length and width of the driveway going to the building, and that he would add a different facade on the front of the building instead of the sheet metal.
So you're good with the 40 by 64 by 15 foot tall and all that? Or 18, 15? 18, 16 foot tall?
Yeah, I mean, because if he can't go that tall, then he's not going to be able to get his trailer in. That
I guess
defeats the whole
that's- yeah,
purpose
that's
of the
the-
project.
Yeah.
So one thing you have to remember, it is possible. I think we've got two doors here. I don't know if he's got two trailers or not, but it is possible that you can do raised cord trusses so the top cord does this, right? We all know how that works. You can also do it where the bottom cord of those trusses are a little sloped as well. So we're 16 foot at the edges, but on the inside you could do a sloped ceiling to where in the middle maybe you're not 16 foot. So it's potential if you had just one, if you just put one vehicle in the middle, where you could have maybe a 14-foot tall building. Don't quote me. That would rise up in the center, and so the outside would be a lot smaller, but the inside would be the same. Now, I think he's wanting two large doors, so maybe there's two major things where
Well, the one big trailer is going to take up the one door.
the one door,
And
and
then,
what I'm talking about, you would only have one door in the middle,
Right,
because
right.
the sides would be less. So
But he's
that
got-
is a possibility.
But he's got two construction trailers, a fishing boat, and a trailer, flatbed trailer already sitting there, and he's got the RV and some other stuff in storage, and so I kind of think he needs.
It's gonna be full.
If he's gonna put it on this lot and we
would
approve
be
that,
a-
it's gotta be as big as we can kind of like possibly let him have it, or she's gonna be living with looking with,
I understand. My wife's the same.
I gotta speak on behalf, I mean, you know, I gotta say something.
All of our stuff's crammed in the.
If the pool's out, as long as all the junk's in the thing,
I'm with you. I'm looking for a second on this motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, John. Roll call vote.
Driscoll,
Yes,
Whitman,
Yes.
Tippett,
Yes.
Brashears.
we have an approval. Okay, so, and why we did your deliberations now is so that you don't have to stay and painfully sit through the other stuff. But your case will go to city council. And so, the final approval will be by them, and there'll be two readings.
Correct.
Meaning it'll show up on the agenda at two different meetings, and then the council will vote on it.
So it'll be next Tuesday, and that's probably a good one to attend. And then, yeah, and you'll have a real good idea after that, you know, if there's any concerns or questions. A second reading would happen 2 weeks after it, so it'd be the first Tuesday in February. But like I said, you'll have a pretty good idea after the first meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Paved drive, yeah, paved drive.
Nope.
Correct.
Okay, we will go on then with deliberations for case V-2024-020, and that is Frontier Hospitality Group's request for a setback variance on property located on Conference Center Drive. Will a significant hardship result to the owner if the strict letter of the regulations are carried out, given the particular physical surroundings, shape, or topographical conditions of the property?
Yes.
Is it an inconvenience to the property owner to follow the regulations of the ordinance?
Yes.
Is the variance requested based upon the uniqueness of the property?
Yes.
Is the variance based exclusively on the desire to make more money out of the property?
No.
Will the variance be injurious to the other property or improvements in the neighborhood?
No.
Has the alleged difficulty or hardship been created by any person presently having an interest in the property and thus self-imposed?
No.
Will the proposed variation impair the adequate supply of light and/or air to adjacent property? Will the proposed variation increase the congestion of public streets?
They'll do the opposite.
Will the proposed variation create additional traffic safety problems?
No. Do the
Will the
opposite.
proposed variation increase the danger of fire to adjacent structures?
No.
Will the proposed variance substantially diminish or impair property values within the immediate neighborhood?
No.
Will the variance be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals,
No.
comfort, or general welfare? Would the variance request be generally applicable to other properties within the immediate area?
No.
What?
No.
Okay.
It's kind of a trick question.
It is a
Sorry.
trick question.
I'm like,
Because you could say because
could
of
say
the
yes.
elevation and those changes, those things would precipitate everywhere, or the unusual lot configuration.
I don't think I've ever read that. Sure.
Sure.
I just want to make sure you want to. So the one clarification I'd like to make is the setback is, in addition to the 6.1 feet, it's also the building that's supposed to be rear setbacks 20 feet, and we're 15 feet for the building as well. Just to make sure that is clear, 'cause I think that the rear yard setback's 20 foot, and we're at 15 foot. Ty, correct me if I'm wrong, or 13 feet.
13. It says 13 foot.
Right.
I just know we talked about the patio. I just want to make sure the
Yeah,
building didn't escape your
Building
purview
setback,
and
right.
ability to ask questions on that if that's a big issue.
In my opinion, this variance would be, if we said 6.1 feet, it's 6.1 feet for anything and
Okay.
everything, I think. And if we had issues, we would ask for clarification, or we would say 6.1 feet to the open air patio or something
Perfect.
like that.
Just didn't want to leave here and
No,
not
I
have-
appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
The way I see this, if we didn't approve this, this is going to cram everything up front to the point not only losing parking spaces, but I can think of other small lots in the city where things are super tight. And a lot of these questions that we asked, I would agree the exact opposite is going to happen. It's going to be more dangerous because you're packing everything in. So, to me, I will certainly make the motion to approve this at 6.1 feet. That's fine. That they can build as close as 6.1 feet to that back property line only at this point. Now, hang on a second. Well, because even the side one, you're at 13.9 foot.
Yes.
Okay. So 6.1 feet. And is this 20 as well?
Side's 10.
Side's 10, so
Yeah.
you're good
You're
there.
okay
So you're
there.
only looking for 6.1 on the back. So I make the motion to approve 6.1 foot setback on that back property line adjacent against the Illinois River.
I'll second it. If that's okay.
Is that too specific, or
Or you need
do we
something
say
else?
as approve as presented?
That's fine too. I mean, that's what was presented.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanna make sure.
But you're fine with the 6.1 feet?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to clarify,
Because to me, it looks less than that.
No.
from the walking path.
What?
Just to clarify, it's not from the river, it's from the walking path.
It's from it's from the property line. If you look at this, the river path is 5 to 20 foot from the property line further back. I mean, based on his drawing here, it is from the property line, not the path. There is quite a bit of an city easement, I guess.
There's some additional width there, and that's one thing we've talked about is there's some additional width beyond the
Yeah.
width of the path.
Right.
Yeah, so it's to that back property line.
I thought you said to the river. In your.
To the back property line that's adjacent to the river. There's a number of property lines here, and we're just talking about this one.
I'll be fair, since your question that 6.1 feet as presented would be I would rather have that, because if it's 5.9 feet or something.
Well, when we say as presented, it would be per the petition, which says 6.1
Okay.
feet in the
That's what-
petition.
I didn't bring
So
the
Ty's
petition
saying
with
it,
me, so-
yeah, one and the same,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, but you're concerned that 6.1 may not work too. Is that what you're
Well, for
saying?
the patio purpose, like the building.
I know.
It's that patio.
And it's just building. This is not,
Doesn't have to do the patio.
yep, just building
Just building.
setback.
It's
Well, and then you can come back if something else with the patio or whatever the case may
6.1
be.
for the building would be more than enough, because I don't think we're gonna get any
Yeah.
closer than 13 feet-ish as shown for that building.
Gotcha.
Well, we have a motion on the table, so are we
Thank
ready to
you.
vote? Roll call vote.
Driscoll.
Yes.
Whitman.
Yes.
Tippit.
Yes.
Brashears.
Yes.
All voting in favor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
delivering sooner than later.
And this is final here, so this does not go into council.
Okay, I'll send an email out tomorrow then.
So even a patio, like a patio structure of some, not a
Signing
roof,
2
but just
copies
a
for
wall or
reading.
something wouldn't count because it's not a building.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry? Oh, I just need you to sign that one.
I don't know what, you handed me 2 copies before, too.
Oh,
It's okay.
that was because I had an extra.
That's fine. Oh, I got you. And I was
Do you want
thinking
these back? Do you want a cup? You want some of these back?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it back if you guys want.
I ripped mine. Does that matter? I did.
Keep these.
Oh, you know what?
Keep one for
I'm
us.
just gonna give it to you. I might rip it. I might rip it again. Sorry. Big old hole right in the middle, so. Thank you,
Good
Robert.
night.
Okay, last case of the evening is case A-2024-010, and that's the petition of the City of East Peoria to amend the East Peoria Levy Overlay District Plan. Our petitioner would be Ty. Ty, will you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Proceed.
So this may look familiar to the group as this was presented back in November. The change here is, as we internally started discussing this a little more before we took it through to the Planning Commission, had to do with prohibited uses. So the levy district has always had a prohibition on auto-oriented uses. Particularly, you think of oil change places, car repair, that sort of thing. That the goal was not to add these in here. We started talking about other uses that would be beneficial to really just call them out and exclude them. There may be other locations in the community where these are already existing or would be a better fit, but some that were added to this list include smoke and tobacco shops.
Is this a list of things that can't?
Yeah, these are things that just right off the bat, if someone said, hey, I want to locate a vape shop here.
And we're talking on page 13 here.
Correct,
Okay.
page 13. In the levy district, the easy response is, no, it's just not allowed here. You need to look elsewhere in the community. Recreational medical cannabis, we do have these already represented, but they're not within the levy district proper. CBD and related sales, and then also light industrial uses. These are all uses that probably have a better fit somewhere else in the community. And it's a reflection of the investment that's been made by both the city as well as the private entities that have built here. We have one of the premier commercial areas within the community, and it's reflective in the department or the apartments that are being created here next door in Bluetown. They're going to open later this year. Recent announcement with Best Buy and Boot Barn. They want to be here because a lot of folks have put a lot of time and money into this development, and so the thought is some of these uses are probably better elsewhere, and so this makes that conversation a little easier. That we don't want these, but we are looking for other complementary development.
Questions for Ty? John?
None.
Don?
The last one, or the E, I don't know if it's the last one, I guess it is, light industrial and warehouse use. I assume you're talking about buildings that are primarily warehouses.
Correct.
Not mixed-use buildings like Target has some warehouse
Correct.
part in it. But,
Yes.
So that wouldn't be a problem, but you're looking more for...
Primarily light industrial warehousing uses, yeah, we'd want them to
that
be
would not
elsewhere.
have the... But you're looking for places that would have the public come to them. and
Yes,
that-
correct.
Okay.
So, like, what would RV storage be classified as?
That's a good question.
That would not be...
We don't have that specifically. I mean, we can add that to the list if that would be a recommendation of the board.
Well, how about any kind of storage? I mean, like mini storage?
Mini storage would be a part, in my opinion, of the
Yeah.
light industrial warehouse uses. Based on the code book, it would all be the same thing.
Okay,
It would be
and-
And mini storage would need an M1 zoning designation too.
okay.
And RV storage seems like it goes
It
along.
would probably be the same thing.
Okay.
I would
okay.
think.
Then we don't need to.
It
but-
would, this would be identifying things that might be permitted by right in B3 zoning. So any sort of outdoor storage would require a special use and likely would not, get
So
too
you're just
far.
sticking to B3. Okay.
The thought is the prohibited uses we'd identify would be things that are permitted by right within B3. Let's call the specific excluded
Right.
uses. But that's a good point. I mean, we could certainly articulate that, but that would require another zoning review.
Okay.
And I assume car washes are not?
So that would be considered an auto-oriented use.
Okay, yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
just want to make sure.
So we're done
And
with
we've got,
those two.
we've got them just right outside the perimeter,
Right.
so.
Okay, that's all for me. Any further questions then? And you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass it as written.
I'll second.
Excellent. Roll call vote.
Driscoll,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Tippett,
Yes.
Rushiers.
Yes.
All voting in favor.
Okay, any old business? Any new business? Do the citizens, are there any citizens who want the opportunity to address the ZBA on a non-agenda item? Seeing no citizens, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Yes. George
Motion,
seconds
yes.
it.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. We are adjourned until February.